Everybody thank Jackaboom for following.
Thanks, Jackaboom.
And Orphan just lets out this held breath. Just,
So.
Can we? And she doesn't say anything, but you can tell she's thinking it. She's thinking.
Hold on.
What against
hold
fate.
on. What actually happened?
Fred reads the scroll. He reads off the scroll, the arcane runes, and the scroll immediately just evaporates out of his hand, and you see the magic gets discharged into the air. And he looks at the empty spot in his hands and looks down to Adric and back and forth. I don't understand. I don't know what happened. I read it correctly. It just came off the page. And he reaches down at Adric and he starts shaking the body. It's like, come man, wake up! Stand up! Let's have an ale!
Is that supposed to happen?
I'll rush forward and grab Fred. Fred, just let it go.
And Fred is devastated all over again.
Point out an expert now.
And when Zook calls that up, the sailors take up the calls. The girl said there's someone in town outside of the temple that can help. So we owe it to Adric to look into it.
Listen.
And the other sailors take up the agreement.
Tarin just shakes his head. No, I mean, this is what he wanted. This is obviously what's supposed to happen. Let's get the box.
Oh God.
I'll go, and Orphan goes to fetch it. I'll go fetch the box.
Wait, what box? You're gonna put him in a crate?
The coffin
do we have, like, seriously? Well, no, we should
wait, hold on.
Let's get a proper coffin for him crafted.
Didn't we establish last session that the arena was readily selling coffins? Like, we would probably brought them home in a box.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, but if you're gonna bury him at sea, it's most likely you put him on a plank under a cloth and just tip him over.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to go back and buy a coffin, you sure can.
If we're gonna do this, we should do it right. Do we have a spare longboat we can set on fire?
Yes, we do.
Eldove immediately perks up at the word fire.
You do. You have a longboat and you have a bobsled.
I say we push him out. Put a little bit.
A longboat. Yeah, we need to use the bobsled that he pushed.
How strong is this pear wine? Is it flammable?
It's not particularly alcoholic. I mean, these guys are hamming it up. They're not as drunk as they think they are.
Don't worry.
What? I think I
can
want to
cast another spell.
No, you know what, guys? I want to send them out with my most prized possession, which is this mysterious black pepper that I found in a cave once.
Alright, so,
Adric
Zook's
hates
advice.
you all.
Adric did like to eat.
I will put him on the longboat we used as a sled, and we will set it out to sea.
As these preparations are being
made, and then
made,
launch a fireball at it.
Arvin approaches you, Tarin. He says, I don't understand. See, for the first time in the whole time I've served on this ship, we have the resources to save one of our men from the jaws of death itself, and we're not seeing it done. So is that how little you think of our lives? If I were to take ill, would you not see me healed? He doesn't wait for an answer. He turns and walks off. So, preparations are being made. You put the keg of black powder, or black pepper, sorry, into this bobsled. And you lay...
What joke are we actually doing it?
This is what was described to me.
I don't see why we shouldn't put this pepper in there. I mean, that dwarf liked to eat.
He did.
I don't actually know where the line of in-character knowledge is here, but I don't know if we'd actually put the black pepper in there.
Probably in character, nobody would have any idea.
I have a contesting argument, which is I recently went to a funeral, and my grandma was always like a big, like she loved to make food for people and all that. So we thought to ourselves,
I have to ask, is this your grandma or Eldove's grandma?
This is my grandma. This is an out-of-character argument for in-character. Okay. All right. Putting that in there.
All right, go ahead.
And when we found that she had left us all some canned tomatoes that she wanted us to keep, we thought to ourselves, well, we should put one of these in the coffin. And then we did.
That being said, Adric has never eaten anything out of the keg, and none of you know for sure that it's food. You just know that it's a mysterious black powder.
I think we save this for when my character dies, since it was my discovery.
So, is anything else happening to inhibit or stop this event, or are we putting Adric into this longboat and setting it out to sea.
I mean, Zook is still a little upset because he would like to go find an expert, but he's not going to challenge Tarin too much on it. So Tarin says we're putting him out. My thing is, let's give him a Viking funeral.
Fred is
I'm
very much.
sobering up at this point because setting things on fire is very much serious business.
Fred is very much against this as well. So there's a pretty divisive split right now.
Yeah, Tarin, like you said, he told him to do it, and he's going to do it.
Unless you want to push the longboat into Orphan, and then she can cast an infernal rebuke on it.
So you set the longboat, lower it down. Now it's down on the ocean.
I'll lower myself down with a rope, and wearing the gauntlets, I will give it a forceful shove.
And the current starts to carry it away.
Alright, once it's about... Unless other people have something they want to do with it. Once it's about 50 feet away, I'm going to cast a Scorching Ray on it.
You guys buried me with my gauntlets. You're terrible people.
Oh, we took the gauntlets, right?
Yeah.
We never had him on him. We never put
Okay,
him back on him.
great.
No, they
Fantastic.
Adric
Alright,
didn't
yeah.
have them.
You guys are terrible.
Sorry, Adric.
The longboat goes up in
From
flames,
beyond the grave, Eldove goes, oh shit, we took the gauntlets, right?
and it is a very emotional scene as Adric's boat is set aflame and it drifts off and eventually sinks.
Alright.
Bye, Dwarf. I miss you.
It wasn't set aflame, sir. That was Scorching Ray.
For him.
That was 3 gigantic balls of flame.
Yeah, but what was the AC on that floating coffin?
Yeah, that's true.
And Tarin
do I have to
just
roll
goes
this?
to the captain's room and locks the door
What is the...
with the bottle of pear wine.
There's a... Well, I mean, Fila tries to join you.
Nope.
Are we just staying out in sea for the night in morning?
Yeah, what is the plan for the Flumph next morning?
Eldove sees you taking the keg of pear wine, and he tries to join you.
Well, it's just a bottle. Nope. Nah, he doesn't even say anything. He just closes the door and locks it.
Alright.
Oh, at least there's 2 kegs.
Zook is going to go up into the crow's nest and look into the night sky and just sort of
Okay,
muse.
fast forward to the next morning.
Yeah. Well, can Orphan just try to console Fred a little bit?
He is inconsolable, and he doesn't want anything to do with you.
You know, it's not your fault.
How forceful
If
are
it didn't
you?
work, it's. Let's see.
I mean, if you
Well,
get
I'll say.
if you get into his
Sorry.
personal space, he actually shoves you away. He
Okay.
at this point he blames himself, but he blames you even more.
All right.
That was an emotional scene. Can I go grab a beer now?
Yes.
In all seriousness, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
So what is the plan for the next morning?
Once Tarin wakes up, he'll be pretty hungover and he'll order the ship back into shore.
And tensions aboard the ship are relatively high, but they bring it back into the harbor. The second day of the tournament is already underway as it's after sunup. And there's a messenger waiting
Okay.
for Eldove.
Alright.
And he hands you
Wait, what time of day is this?
this early morning, an hour or two after sunup.
Oh, okay, I'm up by then.
Okay.
If you had said super early morning, I'm asleep in my cabin.
And he hands you a summons from Prince Humber that requests your presence and the presence of the trusted officers of the crew of the Flumph that you've been associating with.
The trusted officers?
Tarin will say that the men have permission for shore leave at least until the end of the tournament, the end of the festival, and that I'll set a date that I expect them to all be back here, and if they see any other sailors, let them know, but I can always let them know, and I will be reminding them the day before.
With your dark magics?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a terrible ship.
Roll an insight check. DC 10.
Who?
Tarin.
Okay.
Okay. You tell the men that they're expected to be back, and they don't say anything, but you get the sense that none of them are
Or what?
coming back.
Okay.
That was a disgusting show from their point of view.
All right.
So, they're all paid up. They head off.
Actually, they didn't get a bunch of their money. I still haven't given them the rest of their shares.
Well, they didn't know how much their share was actually worth, and you gave everybody like 100 gold. So.
Yep.
Are we back at port yet? I need to go find this +1 bow. Or actually, yeah, I'm supposed to find the +1 bow at the end of the tournament, so I guess we're probably not there yet since Adric didn't make it all the way.
No, you're still, like, you've found a guy who can get one for you, and it's gonna... He has to put some things together and use some contacts. You did take the money off your sheet for that last week, though, right?
Hadn't yet because I hadn't bought it yet. You said it would take 6 days to buy it.
Okay, well, go ahead and take the money off. Because
okay.
You've paid this guy to get a hold of it for you, but it's not a thing that's just on a shelf in a store.
Fair enough.
He's given you a time and a place to go and pick it up.
And then among the crew, what about Ryler? Obviously.
Ryler never set foot off the ship.
Okay,
And-
what about Arvin, Swint, and Balin?
Swent has kind of taken up Arvin's side of things. Like, Swent is a man who fought alongside Adric, and and in Swent's case in particular, like, he was very close to the brink of death, and you all went down into the bowels of a dark swamp and fought a great monster to bring back the object that could bring him back. And even though he's never been the same since, like, his gratitude for that has always been great. And if you ask him about it, he expresses confusion as why you would not extend that same courtesy to Adric, who is our fond ally. Balin has
Adric
seemed
is dead, and I did what I could.
Balin seemed to take it in stride. You know, the captain made his decision, and I stand by it. That's kind of his feeling. Arvin does not like it one bit. And Fila doesn't seem to understand, like, either. Like, even if you explain this is what Adric wanted, like, she doesn't think that's what Adric wanted, and she's not sure what to feel.
Yeah, I would also mention that I asked him specifically if anyone brings it up, and he said to bury him at sea. I did not really like trying to bring him back against his wishes, but I mean, he didn't come back, so.
Okay.
At this point, anyone who's talking to him is realizing Tarin is just more justifying this to himself than he is to the... This is why he's looking for these conversations.
Okay, so question number 1. Eldove, who do you share the missive with? You've received...
The captain.
Okay, so Tarin, Prince Humber has summoned Eldove and his companions from the Flumph to a meeting at the palace this evening.
Alright.
No, wait. I describe it as the officers from the Flumph. Like, I'm not expecting Orphan to come with us.
The officers? Okay.
Because that's what the message said.
I was actually going to bring...
The message said yourself and your trusted companions from the Flumph.
Oh, okay. In that case, then...
Yeah, I mean, I would expect to bring the player characters, and probably Swint.
Now, I have not been welcomed into the palace yet.
No.
That's fine.
So, do I
think we should bring...
guys?
Yeah.
If you're asking my opinion, I invite everyone who's with us except Orphan because I've been told she was not there with us. So.
Well, and Eldove, I mean, being in Humberth's service, you take this to mean the people you fought alongside on the Flumph. I mean, Humberth trusts your judgment. So anybody you want to bring.
Basically everyone but Orphan.
Everyone but Orphan.
Alright,
okay.
fine.
Alright.
Tarin.
I'd like to scope out this...
Sorry, Nick, but you weren't there, so...
Orphan's seen the palace anyway. Didn't want to see it again.
Zook, you were about to say something.
Oh, no, I was just like, alright, I'm down.
Okay, Tarin. Where do you go in town, or do you stay aboard the ship?
At this point, I'm going to try and start working on replacing the crew.
Okay.
I have to, but I don't have a good feel for how many. I mean, we needed 20, so we need to hire at least 12. I would like to hire also a full-time alchemist.
Okay.
Because I seem to be doing a lot of alchemy. I don't know if you saw in my notes, I was actually adding an alchemy lab to the ship.
Yeah, we'll actually do the bookkeeping on that
full-blown
at the end of the session tonight. Because
Okay.
we don't need to roleplay through all of that. But while you're down...
Well, the only one thing is since all these guys are from a different dimension with all sorts of weird different gods and whatnot, I want to try and find... I'm going to pay double. I'm going to pay 2 gold each. And I want to try and find sailors who I think would be accepting. Like, I want to find... You know what I'm saying? I want to find people who will work well, you know.
Okay.
I want to find a priest.
Now,
I was considering it.
And Balin is down there with you. And the ship, I should point out, the ship did have a priest aboard before Gendred killed him, if you recall.
Right.
A priest of Quisalis.
Yep.
So, Balin is with you, helping to get some of this taken care of, and a messenger from the school comes down to see you. Captain Tarin of the Flumph, I presume.
Yes.
Says, Null Kantar humbly requests your accompaniment for brunch this morning. And he hands you an invitation.
Is it addressed just to me?
It is.
Balin, you know what I'm looking for in men, right?
Balin says I can take care of it.
Alright. I'll go and visit the school again.
Okay. And that's right, you had been up at the school before. Were you up there last session? I don't remember.
No, I went there this session to hire the...
Right, but did you go up there last
Mending
session?
guy.
I can't remember now.
No,
he
I was
didn't.
not.
Okay. So you go to the School of Senses. It's much like I described for Orphan last session. And you ask around, and eventually you are shown to the office of the Null, who is this short little pudgy man, balding on top, and he has sideburns coming down his head. And he introduces himself as Null Kantar. And you're sitting in his office, which is overstuffed with all kinds of scrolls and books in all different languages. And he has worn tapestries and things on the wall that he's collected over the years. And you sit down in this uncomfortable chair, and he says, I'll get right to the point, Captain. So I was visited yesterday by a woman on your crew. A Tiefling that you would know as Orphan. And she said you would make a request of me and that I should ignore it. He says, is that true?
That you should ignore it, or that I would make a request?
That you were considering making a request. A servant comes in with bread and cheese for you.
No, not specifically. I thought we could handle it, but...
He looks concerned. He says, by it we mean... And he waits for a moment until the servant leaves the room. He says, by it we mean recalling the spirit of your fallen companion, the dwarf Adric, the gladiator.
Yes, it was against his will, and the magic failed. We had some option to do so magically. So I'm guessing... I think that's the way these things work. It's not really my area.
He pours himself some wine out of the decanter that the servant had brought in. He says, tell me the story of it.
I'll say, alright, well, we, months ago, we killed a necromancer. Among his possessions was a scroll which contained the spell Raise Dead. I know enough about magic to know what it did, and I have a bard in my service who attempted to cast it, and it failed. From my understanding, the spell fails if the person does not want to come back. Further, the dwarf had asked me to bury him at sea if he died before we went into the tournament, so I did everything I could. My men probably hate me now, but...
He drinks deeply of his wine, and your story seems to have amused him. Like, he's not laughing at you, but you're getting a smirk out of him. He says, well, your first mistake was using a mending spell to put his neck back together. So there's much more to a man than the flesh. There's vessels, there's bone, there's all manner of muscle that has to be reconnected, far beyond the scope of a simple cantrip. So second mistake was trusting a bard. Because I understand why you couldn't go to the priests of Osiris with this, but your bard, entertaining though he may be, this was beyond his scope as well. And he reaches down below his desk, and he pulls up this black crystal orb. It's being held. It looks like it's being held by a demonic claw, and he sets it down on the table. He says, but my master can do all of this you ask and more.
Maybe if we had branded Adric with the soul of the dark gods, we could have brought him back.
He says, because what I offer is not mere magic. My master can reach into whatever hell your dwarf has ended up in, and bring him back, grant him a new form, here in the flesh. It's this thing I can do.
So what's in it for you?
For me, nothing. I am simply the facilitator. My master is an immortal. He lives forever. His power is limitless. The trade would be a piece of his soul for a piece of your dwarven friends. The trade, of course, is in his favor. The master is sating some immortal curiosity that I cannot understand, but your dwarven friend will receive a piece of this soul of an immortal that can only grow to boundless size.
Tarin is giving him a very, very cold look at this point. My friend's soul isn't mine to sell. If you were offering this to me, and I was dead, now, honestly, I might be interested.
He says, so would you...
But I can't do that for my friends.
Would you stand in the dwarf's place, then? Your soul for his?
I think you're gonna find that the lease on that one is quite not up from the previous document.
It's taken.
He seems perplexed at that. He says, what do you mean?
I'll cast my minor illusion cantrip and cause a writhing burst of tentacles to kind of form around the orb,
Nice.
and wrap around it and sort of twist into an infinite dimensions of X-dimensional space.
Dark God fight! Dark God fight!
And you see...
These two deserve each other.
Contour's eyes go very wide, and he gets this look of curiosity on his face. He says, oh, you're one of the men who has no soul. You have nothing to sell. He says, understandable. And I commend your friendship to the dwarf. Perhaps this would be against his wishes. However, if there are any amongst your crew who would see Adric returned, tell him to come see me.
Who's that?
And he's just and Tarin's just kind of sort of lean forward and look at him. And what say does Adric have in this? If someone decides to go through with it, because again, I know a little about something about bargaining with beings that aren't quite, what's the word for it? Mortal, three-dimensional, sane.
You're very correct.
But
It's a
in any-
dicey proposition.
Yes, and again, if it were me, maybe, but I'm not really so sure about my friends.
As I understand your apprehensions, but let's make no mistake. The raising of your friend did not fail because he decided not to come back. It failed because, well, where do I start? He says, if the ritual were to be undertaken and Adric wishes to not return, nobody can force it upon him. This is the nature of the soul. It rests where it rests. Even my master cannot force this upon him. But that's not to say we shouldn't go forward with it. It's not to say that we shouldn't explore the possibility, yes?
If there's one thing I know, it's that open-ended contracts with otherworldly beings are probably not exactly what they look like on the surface. But I'll go and tell my men, sure. Thank you.
So I look forward to hearing from them. So who from the Flumph do you tell?
No one.
No one. Alright. So what's going on during the day? Real quick. Anything happening?
So morning, I want to go to the bazaar and see if I can find out what exactly did happen to Warwinex's scales. What they made of them.
As far as you could tell, the Divers Guild found his body, dredged it up, skinned him, and started selling his scales on the open market. And they're gone now, but there are many facsimiles and counterfeits thereof.
So no one crafted anything from them. They're just his scales.
Not that you know of.
Okay.
I mean, all the scales themselves are gone. This is a unique beast. His skin was found, and he was sold piecemeal, or something akin to his scales were sold piecemeal to the highest bidders. Most of them were bought by craftsmen from the craftsman's ward, armorers, weapon makers, toy makers, things like this, to do gods know what with.
Toy makers. It's just a tiny little dragon that when you press it, it goes, "Kill me!"
Well, Scale Mill gets a
McDohl.
disadvantage on stealth, so I'm not interested.
Real quick, McDohl, I tried very, very hard, but these guys do not want to res you. So,
I know.
Hey,
I know. That's why I've been sitting here quietly, just working on a new dude.
so
Joel,
yeah.
McDohl, words, I wanted to
McDohl,
go
what
to
do you
that
do
guy.
this morning? what does he do this morning?
So, Tarin, what do you do for the rest of the day before the meeting tonight?
So I'm just gonna be sitting over quietly, just working on a new man.
That's fine.
I
Well,
took your
who's-
dice because I figured you didn't need them anymore.
Who's lowest
What
level
level
right
do
now?
I need?
Eldove is lowest level.
Yeah,
I'm
think
level
so, yeah.
4.
So Eldove is 3.
Yeah, Eldove's 3, right?
Yeah.
So Adric,
The third level,
roll someone up to second level.
second level.
Well, no, third level because Eldove will be 4 after this session.
Does I have a question.
Okay.
Does Nick's character get any EXP for taking out a pretty high challenger level target?
No. There's no EXP in this game. So the question again, who's doing what today before the meeting tonight?
Tarin is just continuing recruiting and getting everything in order. Yeah,
Okay.
I might actually need a priest of one of the local sea gods, but I'm gonna see what the locals actually have this sort of thing.
Okay, Nick.
Eldove looks into the price of a raised dead scroll.
Of what?
A raised dead scroll.
It is beyond what you can afford. These are not things you can buy on the open market.
Damn, I was gonna buy a couple of those, put them in like a manila folder, open in the case of my death.
Okay, so assuming nothing else is happening to him right now, I think Zook would spend all of his time in the bazaar, maybe poking into the Craftsman's Ward and the Low Ward, just looking for cool shit. He already has that +1 bow coming at him, but he wants to know if there's anything else available in town.
Roll an investigation check, DC 15.
In that case, I'll have been looking for the raised dead scroll with Zook.
Investigation. What is investigation? Oh, it's shit. No, I got -1 on investigation. How about perception?
No, investigation, because you're looking for something kind of specific.
All right, I fail.
There are all kinds of strange and exotic things here. Most of it's food. A lot of it is food. But looking for something strange and exotic, I mean, you find some like little brass puzzle boxes and things of this nature, like the bones of animals from the desert that you've never heard of, that have been carved down in the figurines.
What
So-
about specifically, like, is there in the Craftsman Ward, is there an armor or weapons shop that
Oh,
I
yeah.
could go browse?
I mean, you're not going to find anything you can't find in the PHB, though. That's my point.
Okay.
If you browse around in the bazaar, like if you look in the player's handbook, there's a trinket table. I will say most of the things you can find on the trinket table are probably for sale in the bazaar.
Wait,
What-
do I find a letter to an invitation to a party where a murder happens?
Yes. Eldove, you're spending the time with Zook in the bazaar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys are down there for a few hours, just kind of doing what we do at Dragon Con. Like, somebody's actually selling this? What the hell is this? This is the dumbest thing. $50? No, I don't think so. As you're browsing, Nanise finds you.
Some incredibly overpriced tables.
And she looks frantic, but she's I'm glad that I found the two of you. Not that the two of you are particularly hard to find. She says, your captain found you yet?
Haven't seen him today. Just been looking at the crap for sale.
The Gnoll asked me this afternoon, said that he spoke with the captain and that I should relay his message to the rest of the crew. He says there's a way that the dwarf can be saved. All you have to do is go and meet with the Gnoll. I could take you right now. We could put an end to this folly.
No, we tried that. He's burned up in the river.
Yeah, we don't have a dwarf anymore.
We broke him.
And she looks very upset about it, and she just flees.
Sorry.
This is where I have to go, guys. So,
Okay.
yeah, Tarin's just going to spend the rest of his time prepping the ship to make it seaworthy again.
Okay.
I'm trying to get...
Send me an email with the expenses for all of that, because you have the...
Yep.
I think I gave you the... In one of my note sheets here, I had all the expenses and everything.
Yeah, I paid up I have the harbor fees paid up. I have all the repairs from what we need. There's some, I still need, in the loot sheet, I think there's the renovations I wanted to make. And then, yeah, I might send you, I'll also probably include the details I want on trying to get a decent crew.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm out, guys.
I
Good night.
prefer an indecent crew.
See you later.
Indecent crew. So, who all is going to the meeting with Prince Humber tonight?
Wait, I didn't get a different action.
Well, what are you doing?
I wanted to go resume like my inquiries into the ancient
Okay.
order of Herods.
You do, but you don't find out anything new. You already failed that
Okay.
roll.
Gotcha.
Well, I think we were all going besides Orphan.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I wasn't invited.
Eldove is there. Adric is not there. Is Fred there?
I invited Fred.
Okay, so Fred's coming with you. So it's Zook, Eldove, and Fred.
Okay, I need to ask a question again, though.
Sure.
Because it would have been really hard for Eldove to let the captain not come. So that's not going to get brought up, right?
It's fun. Well, we're just gonna pretend like Tarin doesn't exist for the scene.
Okay.
Like, his player's not here. We can't make decisions for him. So,
All right.
so the three of you go up to the palace and taken up into Humber's quarters, which are no nicer than the ones you were accustomed to the nights you stayed here, but they're considerably larger. And it's him, as well as some other members of House Estenu, including the Jal and his princesses. Some various guild masters are there as well. So about a dozen people in all when you enter. And Humber greets you. Makes introductions around. Does everybody saw that spreadsheet that I set out?
Yep.
Yes.
So basically at this meeting are the people at the top of the list. In blue, these are the guild masters and whatnot that are at the meeting. Except for Lotus, who would be the Jal's elder sister. She's the Nalna of Guildhall Administration. She's not privy to this meeting. And who else was not here? I had this note down. And Talna the woman who is rumored to be the Jal's mistress. She's not here either. The other people on this list are at this meeting, as well as the Humber, as well as Prince Humber, and as well as his betrothed, Jana Neith. Humber welcomes you in, and the first thing he asks is, "Oh, you didn't invite your Tiefling companion with you." I half expected her to be here.
You asked me to invite my trusted companion, so I brought the folks that I fought with.
He nods. He says, "Well, it's good that you've invited those you can trust." Although, to be fair, in mechanical terms, the only reason that Orphan didn't fight with you is because Nich wasn't here that session.
But I was very clear about asking whether we could just say that she had fought with us, because it depended on
Right. Okay.
how my character would view her.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
Humbers looks to the Jal, and the Jal nods. The Jal being the man who is the head of the government in Qisca for now, but the Jal serves at the pleasure of this vast list of guilds and whatnot, and House Estenu has served under the crown for a couple of generations. Surely as long as any currently living human has been in Qisca, but throughout the past 15 or 20 years, the wealthiest house in Qisca, House Nibiryi, has consolidated a lot of power, and now House Nibiryi controls a majority of the votes. You can see that on the red section of the spreadsheet down below. Most of the other noble houses in town, if it came to it, would support Nibiryi over Estenu in a vote. And now, Humberth explains that one of his men in town, who is able to get places that Qiscan people, especially agents of the Jal, would not be able to poke their noses in. He says word has got back to him that the head of House Nibiryi intends at the end of the arena festival, after the day of celebration, which will be 2 days from now, to initiate a motion of no confidence against the Jal in his office. He says if this goes through, it'll be put to a vote whether the Jal retains his position or not. And he looks at the other people in the room and says, and this is it. He says, the Jal cannot win this vote. So what is Eldove's response to that?
Eldove has no response to that whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for him to keep talking.
So he says, so that's the situation as we see it. Says, it is in everyone's best interest in this room, I am sure, that the Jal retains power in Qisca. And that if things were to fall to House Nibiryi, they would lose considerable power, and you yourself, Eldove, your house, would not stand to gain as it currently does. And he motions to your friends that you've brought in. I guess to Fred and Zook. says, but we've been privy to the actions of your companions in town. They have made contacts with other guilds. They're not Qisca natives, but we feel that with the right actions, you may be able to sway public opinion in a certain way, either to stop the vote, or stop the motion from going through, or to tip the scales of the vote if it comes to it. And the various Nodals and Nalnas in the room nod in agreement.
Indeed, I have full confidence in my companion's abilities to see that through. And as you have said, my house would only lose if the Jaw was to be taken out of power, and would stand to gain if he were to not.
And he nods and he says, I'm glad we understand each other, Eldove. Then he goes and takes a seat next to his betrothed, and the Jaw stands up. And he's not a particularly imposing man, although he's trying to look like he is. He says, we have spent the extent of our political power in trying to keep House Nibiri at bay, but it looks like it's coming up on the end. He says, whatever contacts the three of you have in town, whatever you've done here, the three of you have made waves. He says, if you are able to save my crown and continue my family's reign, we would be in your debt. Fred seems to be, well, he's drunk, for one thing. He's very, very drunk. But he seems to be, he likes the idea of being in the Jaw's debt.
Wait,
what?
who likes the idea of being in the Jaw's debt?
Fred does.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah, he likes the idea of doing something for the Jaw, and the Jaw owes him one.
What the hell has Fred been doing in town? I guess we should probably ask him
This
after this.
past day, he's been doing a lot of drinking and crying.
Are you telling me I should remove the last keg of Elvish pear wine from our party
Oh,
treasures?
it's gone. Yeah, the kegs are tapped. They're gone. There's no more Elvish pear wine.
Is the pepper there? Did he take that out?
No, the pepper is still intact.
Alright.
And so after that, I mean, the next few hours going on in the course of the evening is a furious debate, during which you learn the extent of the information in this spreadsheet. Like, all of these topics are covered. Like, can we go to approach this guild? Like, who's currently in charge? Which house can be swayed? And so the information you glean is what's on that spreadsheet. So your actions over the next few days are going to involve doing what you see fit to go to these various guilds, Nals, Nalnas, and noble houses, and making a case in one way or the other. Or bribing, or threatening, or intimidating, or whatever the case may be. And then, about midnight, the meeting breaks. And the three of you go back out onto the street. Fred is sobering up a little bit, just because there was no alcohol available at the meeting. And another messenger approaches you. It's Eldove, my friend. And he hands you a small bound scroll, pressed with the sigil of House Nibiri. And after it's in your hands, he bids you farewell and good night. He goes off.
You gonna open that thing?
Not yet. Not here.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
where do you take it? What does Orphan do in the evening?
In the evening, so according to Nanise, the reason that the priest wouldn't resurrect Adric was because which god was it?
Osiris.
Osiris? Okay.
Yeah, they are forbidden by religious right, because it's considered, falling in the arena is considered a glorious death, and it would be an affront to the god of Bast to call such a fallen spirit home. But it would be the priests of Osiris who run like the funeral rites and things in town. One of those priests would have been the one to cast Raise Dead if they had been free to do so.
But I'm more interested in the god of Bast, because that's also the god that Nalkantar mentioned. So I'm gonna go to the Temple of Bast if there is one.
There is one, but it's very small. Like, the patron temple of this town is Ta, who is like the god of knowledge and trade. But there's a smaller temple of Bast within the arena itself, because specifically that is the domain that Bast rules over is the domain of war.
Okay.
Whereas Osiris also has a small temple on the site of the entrance to the tombs for the same reason, although neither Osiris nor Bast are the patron gods of Qisca.
Okay. I'll go into the temple, the small temple of Bast within the arena.
Okay. The battles for the day have ended, and you find some of the acolytes in there praying, as well as I already forgot his name because I suck. Hespu, Bone Eater, is there as well.
Oh, right. Hespu Bone Eater.
His wounds had been tended to. He is saying
Good old Boney.
prayer to Bast. He's no longer in the contention for the tournament.
I think McDohl should roll up Bone Eater.
Hespu McDohl leader.
I'd be open to that idea. Just give
Dole, you
Hespu
still
Bone Eater
around?
some.
I still say he should roll up the Neve.
I'm hearing mumble, and now I'm content to let the DNPCs stay NPCs.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
But it is a good idea because I'm pretty sure, like I said to that guy, look, if I'm still alive at the end of the day, we're going drinking, and I missed that date.
Aw.
I think every single PC who joins this party should show up shipwrecked.
so Bone Eater regards you, and I mean he gives you a smile and seems taken aback at your tale for a moment, but then he leaves the temple.
Then he leaves.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything to you. He doesn't know who you are.
Okay.
So
All right, I don't know who he is anyway. All right, so I'll bother one of the acolytes once it looks like they're finished praying,
okay, and what?
and just ask him about the god.
Okay, and you learn
Ask
some
about their
things about
faith.
the god of Bast. You learn that he's the god of war and glorious death in battle. That he oversees the arena, and that the all who sees the administration of the arena, like he is a high priest of Bast, and so you learn about the god of war of Qisca.
Okay. That was pretty much all I wanted to do for the night.
About the other three, well, 2 plus Fred.
All right, so we're still we just got that letter,
Yes.
and I pull everyone around and I say, listen, I am trade contacts with the House Nibiri, but that doesn't mean that I owe them my political loyalty. And and for one thing, I don't think they need us that badly. The prince is currently losing this fight. He called us in and he told us they're going to lose the vote, and I think he's more likely to be gracious beyond the fact that I owe him my loyalty than the others. So I don't. You obviously don't need to join me in this, but I think we should take this letter back and open it with him in store and see what he thinks.
I have no interest in local politics. You can go back in there and open up the letter. I'm not going to stop you, but I'm probably not going to go back in there with you either.
Fred's willing to go back in.
All right. Well, I'm gonna gather up Fred. I'm going to say I understand, Zook, but I hope you'll be willing to help me with if I have some things I need your help with later. And I'm gonna bid him goodnight.
It really will depend.
Where does Zook go?
I'm going to go to a bar.
When it comes, and I'm going to. Oh wait, you're going to a bar? I'm gonna give you a platinum piece, and I'm gonna say buy the night's drinks on me.
Are you going to the Sahagin,
Okay.
Zook?
Huh?
Are you going to the Sahagin?
I mean, it's the only bar I know.
All right.
So, sure.
Let's do that first, because that'll be interesting. Then we'll come back and do the thing with Humberth.
I had a feeling it might be.
You go to the bar, and the busty bartender is there. She smiles when you enter, and you attempt to buy a drink. She says, "There'll be time for that, love. You're wanted upstairs."
Okay. Kind of just wanted to sit and drink. Probably should have gone to a different bar.
You shouldn't-
Upstairs I go.
Shouldn't have joined a guild then. You've got responsibilities now. You go upstairs,
Fair enough.
and Taros is sitting at his regular table, and he beckons you over. He says, "Zook of the Forests, my most promising new agent. We all made a great deal of money on your shenanigans at the arena, for which you have our undying gratitude. So I have
Happy I could help.
I have 2 more jobs from you that I think you are the perfect man for."
I'm here.
You had a meeting tonight with the Jarl of all people and this Prince Humber from across the sea. This is... The Guild of Shadows would see House Nibiri come to power. What say you to that?
I don't really care about local politics, so whatever.
But you're now a member of the Guild of Shadows. That means you do care about local politics.
I care about the Guild of Shadows.
So I'm glad to hear you say that. For the Guild of Shadows is a guild in Qisca in name, of course, but the guild that we truly serve, the one underneath, the one in the shadows, is nameless, formless, stretches beyond the walls of Qisca to all of the settlements of the world.
Should be handy.
This is the guild that would see House Nibiri rise to power. So a lot of work has been done, and victory is all but claimed. But there are two things that I believe Zook of the Forest can help with. First thing he does, he brings out a very small chest, and he opens it up, and inside is an object that you're very familiar with. It is this extremely gaudy bracelet of a bee.
Oh, God.
He says, I'm not sure that you've heard, but it seems that the manor of House Nefredis was recently burglarized. Scandal!
Shocking.
House Nefredis typically stays out of politics. They don't vote.
Gasp.
However, I am sure if some noble hero of Qisca were to come across the object that was burglarized and return it, they would be grateful and repay the favor by casting their vote for House Nibiri.
Whoa.
Closes the box back up, and he hands it to you.
Hold on. Isn't returning to the scene of the crime kind of the first thing they taught me in thieving school?
Well,
not do.
to be honest, you probably didn't go to a thieving school.
He went to thieving trade school.
I actually had it that I was recruited by a guild. That's why originally that's where I got my rogue training.
Oh, are you? Because it just says that you went off adventuring as a young gnome.
Wait, do you already belong to a guild? Are you double dipping here?
He did, but he's on a new planet now, so...
Oh yeah, no. My backstory, and it's on my sheet. I went off as a gnome. I got into trouble. I started stealing small items. I was spotted and pulled into a thieves guild.
Okay. So what do you do with the box that Taros hands you?
I put my hand on it, and I look to him and I say, "I'm not gonna lie. I'm a bit apprehensive about returning to a place that I have been before."
He says, oh, I'm sure you'll be fine. He says, but it's important that you don't just sneak in and put it back. You have to make a show of the thing. You have to know that House Nefredis is indebted to us for returning this object. If you don't mean to do it yourself, find somebody who looks a bit more respectable and have them take it. But know that it comes with the price that they cast their vote for House Nibiri.
And how shall I say I came across this object?
He shrugs and says, you're a clever gnome, make up a story. You found it in an alley, in a trash bin, you won it at dice, you slit a man's throat and pulled it off his cloak. You know, make it exciting.
Assuming this doesn't get me shanked. I will be in your debt for this.
Says there's one other thing.
There's more.
There's one more vote that we would like to secure. A vote that can never be counted on in any political council in Qisca. The dreaded and drunken order of Heretsu. And he pulls a small book out and lays it down. He flips through the pages, and you're looking at mechanical schematics. He says, the exalted order of nothing but rubbish, I assure you. Says they determine their vote based on some machine that they keep in the basement of their tavern. All we need to do is make sure the result of that machine comes up Nibiri.
Which guild was this again?
The Ancient and Exalted Order of Heretsu.
Oh,
Says
those
you're Your Tiefling friend has been poking around there. You might seek her advice on this. He says, I believe there was a discussion about riches in the bottom of a tomb. That's what you came to me, correct? And he pulls the familiar scroll back out. He says, you lied to me, but you made amends. And do these two things, this scroll is yours, as well as the riches therein.
Obviously, I'd really like to get that scroll, so I shall do my best.
He nods. He says, very well. He says, I'm sure you're up to the task.
All right.
And now now, my friend, you may drink.
Thank you very much, sir. That is truly what I most desired this evening.
Okay.
And I
Do we still have
I will go
McDohl here,
downstairs.
or is McDohl, did he slump off?
he was still in Mumble.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in Mumble. I'm just working on character sheet stuff.
Okay. You can, if you have any questions or anything, I'm going to keep AIM open. 'Cause
Okay.
Once you
Yeah,
have a viable character ID, I want to get you back into the game.
Yeah. No, I'm actually almost done working working this. I just had to make equipment choices.
I cannot believe the whole party just let you die, man.
I know, right? What a
I
bunch of
tried.
assholes.
Okay. We're going to take like a 5-minute break. I'm going to refresh my Pepsi, get a snack.
What a bunch of dickheads.
Why do you want to play with these people?
I know, right?
Let's fire all of them and go have a different game. Just you and me.
Hey, Brick, before you take off, are you planning on are you planning on launching into something that's going to take a long time, or will I probably be able to duck out in an hour?
You'll probably be able to duck out in an hour. We'll get you done before you have to leave.
Okay. I didn't know if I should leave now or wait a little bit. Okay.
No, I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break because I don't have anything to drink, and my Pringles are empty, and that is disastrous. So, to you guys in the stream, thanks so much for watching tonight. I will be right back with some more. There's going to be some more political wheelings and dealings. Any other players who want to get involved in one side or the other might want to take a look at the spreadsheet real quick and see what kind of avenue of investigation you'd like to undergo. Before I step out, though, Zook. Okay, is he already gone? He's already gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, I will see you guys in 5 minutes when I have Pepsi and Pringles.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to make anti-gravity dice over here.
Alrighty.
I'm doing a pretty good job of it.
It's going to be awesome that I will have gained 2 sneak attack die before I get to use them again.
You're just suddenly way better at sneak attacking.
What are you thinking of going with for the new character?
I'm still working on some stuff here. But the Battlemaster fighter, that got me really intrigued in it because from what I was messing around with Adric, like it's like this is cool. I want to keep going with it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Just so you know, though, when I cast haste, I'm going to cast it on your dead corpse in the ocean. So
Sounds good.
I'm completely in favor of you being a melee character again because I want all the sneak attacks.
Yeah. Well, that's something that's that I was thinking about. That's kind of interesting with Orphan, is that she's a melee fighter, but like she really doesn't want to ever be in melee range because she's so squishy right now.
Because you keep
Like,
rolling for
Because
friggin'
I keep
HP.
rolling yeah. You know
Stop
what my
rolling for HP.
You know what my HP is now?
What?
My max HP is now at level 4. It's 15.
Stop! Stop what you're doing!
Adric had more HP than that.
I'm a gnome rogue, and my HP is 32.
I know.
McDohl did roll a couple of ones, but for the record,
did
let
roll.
me pull up my notes here. Hold on a second.
Oh, by the by, I did roll for I
I'm
did
a
roll for
level
hips.
3 sorcerer, and I have 23 hit points.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, you're
so
beating the hell.
So that's the weird thing about Orphan right now is that she's totally like built around melee fighting, but like her AC is not great. Her
Orphan's
HP is-
gonna get fucking killed,
HP
and then
is
we're gonna
terrible.
have to
Oh,
roll
yeah.
up Nanice.
Yeah.
So,
that's basically what's gonna
Nanice
happen.
the monk.
for the record, McDohl, Mount John still had 21 hit points left.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
why don't you ask what Mount John's
He
HP
was
is? Like,
no-
roll him up.
Well, he had 80 something, and then at the start of the fight, I rolled 3d12 to damage him from his previous encounters, but I rolled very low on those rolls, so he had
Yeah, that's very
probably
sad.
a little over 60 hit points when he went into the fight, and he got him down to 21, but I had a tougher opponent beyond that. So,
Yeah.
Was the plan all day to kill McDohl, so we would have to make this choice about bringing him back?
McDohl wanted to fight in the arena. Yeah, the plan was basically to kill McDohl. There was
Yeah.
there's ways he could have survived if he had won the fights or if he had pled for mercy or something, but I was not expecting the whole party to be like, I'll just leave him dead.
Hey, I said let's get an expert.
You did.
I just want that on record.
You did.
I cast a spell to try to
did.
bring him back.
You drank heavily and showed off. Shut
Hey,
up.
that's the
It worked, though.
listen. That's the risk of D&D though, and Adric, that's his flaw is that he took terrible risks.
You
And-
said you were
Yeah.
allowed to talk. I was the only one actually helping.
Now, I
wanted
learned
to
last
use my
night that some friends of mine's, the DM of my Saturday game and his wife, watched one of our streams, so they might be watching right now. And if they are, I want you to know, the monk in our game, this is what should happen to you every Saturday. Well,
okay.
the difference is she's playing a half-orc, and the first time a half-orc goes down to 0 hit points, they can choose to go to 1 hit point instead. So she's
That's
she's,
pretty helpful.
she's used that over and over and over again.
That is kind of twink monkey, yeah.
So I'm sorry, McDohl,
So how do I
but
delete these extra
So what
hit
I'm
dice
hearing
lines?
What I'm hearing is I want to roll a half orc next.
In the character sheet thing, how do I delete these extra hit dice lines that I don't need?
Isn't there a down
There-
arrow?
yeah, there's an option if you go to settings, show
Oh,
unused
right,
hit
right.
dice. Race, class, character concept. Do you have that much?
Yeah, I already sent you. An IM a little bit to give you kind of an idea.
Oh,
give you an
okay.
idea to kind of get started.
Let me spend the rest of the break over here then.
Okay.
Ugh.
Man, I'm clicking on the settings button and it's just popping it up and then immediately hiding. Like, nope, you don't get to mess with settings.
Can't you just do a new one? Or
It is a new.
oh,
one.
it's a new sheet.
Yeah, you can make
Yeah.
as many as you want. All right. No, I like this character concept. This is good.
Here's my concept. I think you should make a character with this gun.
Yeah,
There you go.
Why is this not? Damn it! Yeah, I totally can't. Totally can't do it.
Does your character
What?
have a name? Gender?
Not yet.
No? Okay.
Not yet. Male though.
All right. Does everybody have their snacks and drinks and whatever? Did Zook ever come back?
Duke is back.
Actually, no. I have a first name. I don't have a family name or anything like that yet. But
Okay.
Duke is gonna fuck Eldove. Sorry.
Whatever.